Good evening and welcome to the January 10th, 2022 Select Board meeting. Board of Select Board in Goffstown, would you all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First on the agenda is acceptance and correction of minutes, 12/20/21, public and non-public.
I'll make a motion, we accept the 12/20/2021 public and non-public minutes with corrections if need be.
Second.
Were you here, Carlos?
Yeah, I think it was.
For the benefit of those that might be listening or watching, could you
You will do a
take
roll.
take a roll call?
We will,
Okay,
yes.
great, thank you. And not just for the vote, but also just for the benefit of the minutes of the two that are participating remotely.
Okay.
Thank you.
In attendance tonight is, Mark Lemay, myself, Peter Georgiantis, Collis Adams, and on the phone, we have,
Jim Craig.
and,
And Chuck Owen.
there you
Chuck
go.
Owen.
Okay. Now, in the minutes, Collis, were you there for that meeting?
I don't think I was there for the 20th. I was for the 20th.
No, you were not here for that. Can I get a second from the phone?
Second.
Seconded by Jim. Any discussion, corrections? Seeing none, I'll call a roll. Mark?
Yes, sir.
Myself is a yes.
Abstain?
Collis is abstaining. Jim?
Yes.
And Chat.
Yes.
Okay. Now we'll go on to the minutes are accepted for 12/20/21. Now we'll go on to 12/29/21, public and non-public. And again, take a motion.
I'll make a motion, we do the 12/29/2021 public and non-public minutes with corrections if need be.
I was here for that one, so I'll second it.
Oh, seconded by Chat. He beat you to it, Collis.
Okay.
That's a roll call. Mark?
Yes, sir.
Myself is a yes. Collis?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
And Chat.
Yes.
All righty, great. We'll move on to announcements. This is a reminder to the residents interested in running to serve as an elected town or school district official. Candidate filing opens at the town clerk's office Wednesday, January 19th during regular town hall business hours, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Candidate filing period ends Friday, January 28th at 5 p.m. Candidates filing on the last filing day, January 28th, 2022, must appear in person. The candidate openings are currently listed on the town's website. The list can be found by clicking on Election Info on the home page and looking under the town clerk's 2022 election information. Again, tomorrow night, the Goffstown Budget Committee will hold a public hearing tomorrow, Tuesday, January 11th, 2022, at 7 p.m. at the Craig Heber Auditorium at the Goffstown High School, 27 Wallace Road, to receive public input on the 2022 budget for the town school district, Goffstown Village Water Precinct, and the Grassmere Village Water Precinct. A snow date, if necessary, for the public hearing will be 7 p.m. on Thursday, January 13th, 2022, at the same location. The Budget Committee will meet immediately following the conclusion of the public hearing to consider public input and their recommendations for the annual warrant. Any person with a disability who wishes to attend this public meeting and needs to be provided a reasonable accommodation in order to participate, please call the town hall at 603-497-8990, extension 100, in advance so arrangements can be made. That concludes our announcements. Derek?
Yes, your packet at tab 4, you have your meeting schedule for the next 2 weeks. Tomorrow night at 6 p.m. is the Sewer Commission at Town Hall. I believe that.
Derek, I can, yeah, go ahead. My in-person status is questionable, but I can certainly do by phone.
I will coordinate with the sewer secretary tomorrow, and we'll try and have you participate remotely by telephone.
Perfect. Same thing for Wednesday night.
I will talk to Joanne about that as well. The other meeting.
Great, thank you.
The other meeting tomorrow night at 7 PM, the Budget Committee public hearing, that's Selectman Lemay.
Yep, yes, sir, be there.
Thursday, 7 PM, Planning Board in this room,
Yep, I'll get a ride.
and Thursday at 7 PM would be the snow date for the public hearing. Next week, just a reminder, on Monday, Town Hall is closed in observance of Martin Luther King Day. On Wednesday at 6:30 PM, the library trustees will meet.
Got it.
Thank you, and Wednesday at 7 PM, Parks and Rec Commission will meet.
That's me.
All right. At your next page is your consent agenda. You have employee status reports for Police Executive Secretary retirement, a call fire lieutenant step increase, fire chief resignation, assessing and building secretary new hire, and crossing guard new hire.
Move to approve the consensus agenda as presented this evening.
Second.
Motion by Mark, seconded by Collis. Roll call vote. We'll start with Mark.
Yes, sir.
Myself is a yes. Collis?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
And Chet?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. At your next page, you have the Parks and Rec Commission met in December. They are looking to update their fees in preparation for some of their 2022 programming. Normally, we have all departments bring in all fee increases after the new board has been seated at election. But some of these fees will go into, would go into effect before the spring season for instructional lacrosse and before the March sign up for summer playground. So the Parks and Rec Director is requesting a public hearing to modify these fees. Summer playground would increase from $70 to $75 per week for residents only. Youth basketball would be $45 for residential, $55 for non-residential, to an increase of $55 and $65. Instructional lacrosse would be $40 and $50 up to $45 and $55. And then men's basketball league, $85 and $95 for non-res to $90 and $100. So really, the request for you right now is to go to public hearing on these fees.
So I'll make a motion to schedule a public hearing on Monday, February 14th, 2022 at 6:30 PM for the purpose of amending the Parks and Rec master fee schedule as discussed.
Second.
So the motion on the floor. Any questions? Do we have a reason why we are increasing the fees, expenses, or?
It's the expenses related to these. They haven't been increased since 2019, I believe. And it says in your minutes, last year, the commission increased their fees related to facility rental, and they have not increased these programming fees since 2019, and they are spending funds for disinfecting and for other COVID protocols. So that is the reason behind this request.
So we had a motion by Collis, it was seconded by Mark. Mark, we'll start with you for a vote.
Yes, sir.
Myself is yes. Collis?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
And Chet?
Yes.
Okay. Good time for one more, Derek?
Yes, at tab 4D in your packet, as we previously hit on the consent agenda, the fire chief is moving on for another opportunity. So he is our current emergency management director. I did speak with the police chief. This is a role that has kind of bounced back and forth between the police department and the police department. But until such time that a new permanent fire chief is brought on board and a decision is made, it's my recommendation that the board appoint the police chief as the acting emergency management director.
Go ahead.
Make a motion to appoint Police Chief Eric Serino as the Emergency Management Director effective January 13th, 2022.
Should say acting, shouldn't it?
Yeah, you could put in acting.
Acting.
Second.
Why is that acting?
Yeah, why do we have to make him acting?
I assume once we refill the fire chief's position, that those duties will go back.
And I think the way the fire chief job description and the police chief job description are both written as they will serve as either the director or the deputy director of emergency, so they both can fill that role. So,
Doesn't really have to be acting.
it doesn't, I don't think it has to be. You could
Okay.
reappoint at such time in the future that the fire chief gets hired.
And, okay, I'm good.
Can I just, what exactly does the emergency managed director do? What's the job description?
Selectman Craig, there's not really a job description per se. However, if an emergency is declared under our emergency operation plan, they would really head up any response to that. In 2020, the town renewed the emergency operation plan, so we do have a current plan. And as department heads, we work together to revise that plan, so we're all well aware of it. But it's really something to head up that that emergency operation, depending on what the cause of that declaration is.
Okay, so that's compatible with both fire and police, so, okay, great, thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
In fact, that was enacted at the beginning of COVID. We had acted that, and it was set up at the, with a group of people at the fire station where we met on a regular basis, so. I have a
Yeah,
motion
thank
on the floor. I think Mark made the motion. It was seconded by Chet. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll start with you, Mark.
Yes, sir.
I'm a yes. Collis?
Yes.
Jim? And Chet?
Yeah.
Okay. A call, thank you, motion passes. A call for any public comment. Is there anybody here for public comment at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on.
So the fire chief also acted as the deputy health officer. The health officer is also our building inspector. However, we should have a deputy health officer if our building inspector is not available. We spoke with the deputy fire chief and the fire chief to see what they had for available personnel, and we also talked with the fire inspection officer. He is willing to take on that role on an interim basis, so is our recommendation to appoint the fire inspection officer as the deputy health officer on an interim basis until such time that a new fire chief is appointed.
I'll make a motion to appoint Fire Inspector Officer Lieutenant William Connor as the Deputy Health Officer on an interim basis. There's no date. Do you want a date on there, or is it?
No.
It would be effective, I guess, Thursday the 13th
Okay.
until such time that a new fire
Yep.
chief is named.
Right.
Okay.
So we have a motion on the floor. Does somebody second that?
Jim
Yeah,
did.
Jim,
Jim, I'm sorry, Jim, I didn't hear you. Okay, motion by Mark, seconded by Jim. We'll have a roll call. Mark?
Yes, sir.
Myself is a yes. Collis?
Yes.
Jim? Jim?
oh, yes, sorry,
Okay, Chet?
yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Tonight on the table in front of you and also emailed out to you earlier today is a copy of the default budget for the town. The budget committee requested this information at their last meeting last week. This is also something that we need to post with the warrant. The main differences you can see on page 5 of 5. When Danielle completes the default budget for the town, she has to indicate why there are any adjustments up or down. We'll see in many of the lines there are increases that are due to CBA contractuals, increases that were approved at previous town meetings. Also, just a reminder that the town does pay increases on July 1st. So for the first 6 months of the year, those pay increases are above, so for January through June, people are at a pay rate one step above where they were last year, as well as the associated New Hampshire retirement and all those items. And then there are also some reductions in CIP. To highlight a few, this year in CIP we have a fire engine budgeted at $775,000. So that's been taken out of the default budget, plus a couple of other projects. But we would be looking for approval of the default budget in the amount of a total operating budget, which includes the general fund, the EMS, special revenue fund, and the sewer enterprise fund, in the amount of $25,096,844.
Which is an increase of $970,996. Is that right?
Over last year's appropriations, yes.
Just one comment at 9:70.
Danielle, come to the front, McFrey, I hear you. I don't know why you just don't sit up there anyway.
Saving space. Just a comment on that increase, that 970,000. When the DRA does their form, the EMS fund is zeroed out each year. So that EMS line, which actually shows up on page 2,
Under ambulance.
Under ambulance,
Public safety.
you'll see prior year budgets listed as 0. So the current year default of 448,000 is about half of the total increase we're seeing.
Because again, we have that a few years ago, DRA, because it's a special revenue fund, we must have a separate vote to appropriate from that,
Which we do every year.
which we do
Which we
every
did this
year.
It just doesn't show
But
up
that's,
as
Yeah,
prior
but that's
year.
year.
half of that 970,000.
Right.
Anybody got any questions? Nice job on this report too, by the way. If you went into a, just out of curiosity, if you went into a default budget and you look at sewer, would that $500,000 or $446,000 be added back in? How does that factor in?
Sewer had a decrease of 446. So,
That's what I'm saying, I mean,
so the
that-
default budget would be the 1.7 million.
okay,
And their appropriation that they've requested, so it's 1.7, but their budget was a reduction anyway. Last year, their adopted budget was about 2.2 million, and right now, their proposed operating budget is at 1.9. So they're already at a reduction. As you may recall, they had a significant sewer project over in Pinardville, and they encumbered a majority of those funds.
Right.
So after their first presentation, they actually reduced their project line. So yes, it would be less than what they are requesting, but not as much as the actual reduction.
anybody got any questions? Do you need a vote on this?
We would be asking for an approval as presented.
Derek, so the numbers presented on the town budget summary, down the bottom on the second page, the default budget versus the town budget, that's the difference that we're looking at, the 900,000 or give or take, that's the difference between the default and the regular, our budget, the select board.
So, yeah, if you look at the detail, the first 2 pages summarized by fund and then department and division.
Yep,
At the bottom of the second page, the total operating budget, you have the department, all the way to the right, the department head, but you've got that default amount of 25,096,844. The operating budget, that 26,753,000, so that's a difference of about 1.6 million.
Okay.
So that is the difference, and just, there is approximately 200,000 of that is the difference in the sewer fund. So there is a difference in the sewer fund. There's not a significant difference between EMS. In the general fund, the majority of the difference is in CIP. There's a difference between default and operating budget of about $1.1 million. Again, you've got a fire truck that is in CIP. That is not in default. However, it's in our operating budget with an offsetting revenue from the capital reserve fund. Also, we do have default funds from this year's CCTV project of $150,000, but the project cost for the network refresh was 362?
Yeah. just
362, so that difference of 212. So you've got almost 800,000 there, and then you've got another 212, so you've got about 1 million, and then you've got throughout the budget other lines where it's in other areas. Again, the other big one, I guess not big one, but the other difference is you have step increases in your operating budget that are not in default for non-union personnel, and then you have a matrix adjustment. Those are 2 other lines that you have in there that again are in your operating budget but not in your default.
That's not huge money though, is it?
No, it's not, no.
About 70.
$75,000
Yeah.
for the matrix adjustment for non-union.
Any other questions? Hollis, you happy? Or-
No,
I see you over there writing away.
yeah, just taking some notes.
Ready for a motion?
all right. I will make a motion, we accept the default budget on the municipality side presented to us this evening for a total of $25,096,844.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mark and seconded by Chet. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll start with Mark.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes,
Jim?
Yes.
And Chet.
Yes.
Motion passes 500.
Thank you. That's all that I had for the town administrator's report. You do have at tab 5 of your packet, you have written department updates from 2 department heads.
I'm concerned about that, the scale. Did you read in the report?
No, I did not, this came in.
Sounds like it's in pretty tough shape.
Yeah, the transfer station truck scale received a very poor rating at a recent annual inspection, and the inspector recommended not using it to weigh our heavy trash trailers or fully loaded plow trucks.
Yep, okay.
yeah, that's the way. It's been going downhill for a few years.
And that
And we
would
have
include-
that as a special article.
That's a
correct?
special article from fund balance. Adam has provided the talking points for the budget hearing presentation tomorrow night on that.
Okay.
So yes.
too early to see if we've got anything out of the test wells out of the, at Station 18 out of the firehouse?
Correct, yes, it is.
We move on to our old business. Action matrix. We're still working with the county.
Yes.
No update.
Nope.
Rotary.
I did reach out to the president to see where they stand, but we'll follow up on that one.
Okay.
They were gonna provide I guess a number on what they were looking for the improvements already done there.
Yeah, we had a couple details that we were looking for from
Yep.
them. They requested quite a bit of stuff, so.
Yep.
And revised for the purchasing policy, it comes up at our next meeting.
Yeah, we're gonna bring that this evening, but there are a couple of revisions that some of the department heads asked for that we're finalizing, so we'll have that for you on the 24th.
Okay. And of course, we know about the 2 accident vehicles. We've already talked about that at the last meeting.
Yep.
I don't think we talked about the engine 1, but that, during the ice storms, kind of skirted off the road and being dinged up. It's still in service,
Yes, it is.
but it will be out of service when it goes to be fixed for a couple weeks.
Yes.
Anything else?
The only other item, I guess I would ask, I did email a copy to members. We did receive a petition warrant article on Friday. The supervisors of the checklist did certify the signatures, so this will appear on the town warrant. And the lead petitioner has been advised of the dates and of the budget hearing tomorrow night, because as an appropriation article, the budget committee will make a recommendation. I would ask the board that for you to make a recommendation at your meeting on the 24th. I would say the chairman did ask a question about when we'll take the final recommendation on your warrant. You can revise those on your meeting on the 24th, but after we had that conversation, it dawned on me that appropriation articles, the deadline is tomorrow, the date of the public hearing. So if you were going to make any changes to an appropriation article that you've already made, you would have to do that tonight.
Is a dollar value you're talking
As the
about?
dollar value.
But not as
Otherwise,
a recommendation.
not as a recommendation.
And a
Otherwise,
recommendation needs to go on the ballot
yes,
from both us and the budget committee.
yes.
Okay.
And then if any changes after that would have to be done at deliberative session.
And when are we gonna discuss that petition article?
24th.
The 24th, to make a recommendation, vote
Okay.
for or against.
Good, I have some questions and concerns, so that, we'll talk about that, I guess.
Just to let you know, I got approached by the Historic District Commission. Apparently Main Street has asked them to host one of the functions that they said they were gonna do, even though it's in their budget, Old Home Days. And there was some concern as they came to us with a budget request that included that, and then they backed out of it. So I'm not sure why the Historic District Commission,
Is it the Historic District Commission or Historical Society?
Historical Society, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
thank you.
Yeah, Historical Society. Why all of a sudden, Main Street decided not to do it and decided that they were backing out of it, weren't gonna do it, and asked Historical Society to take it over. Historical Society looked at their budget and said, well, you budgeted money for that, will you give us that money to help support the problem? And they said no.
Okay. Mr. Chair?
Go right ahead, Chet.
I actually was thinking about this anyway. I'd like to bring this back to discussion and make a motion to reconsider support for the special article for the Main Street program.
You have that authority, you voted in the affirmative.
I did, yep.
Well, what did you want to say? Did you want something you want to do now, or do you want to wait till the 24th? Go ahead.
I was waiting for a second, but I'll start.
I'll second it.
Okay. So the discussion, I think, when I look back at the presentation, it looks like they had some funding. There's a lot of questions around how they will actually operate. And so I think the most prudent thing for us to do as a board is to see what this year looks like, especially with that information you just provided, Peter. see what they are doing, ask for a report, and reconsider supporting Main Street through town funds next year. But I would, if we were to take a vote right now, I would change my vote to not support that now, for that reason.
Okay. Anybody else got a comments? Mark?
I agree with Chet 100%. I would,
Yeah, I'm under the same.
I mean, we had some pretty good discussion when it came, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought we weren't gonna support them, but we heard different, and we kinda changed our mind, but I would not, if we had to vote today, it would be a no for me.
So what's the procedure now, Derek? We take a vote not to support it?
So you have a motion from Vice Chairman Bowen, seconded by Selectman Lemay to reconsider the vote,
Okay.
whether or not you would support it. So I would say take a roll call on that one, and then you could have somebody make a motion to, I guess,
Pull it this time.
you could pull it. If you pull it, it would be very difficult for the organization to submit a petition article
In
tomorrow
short
by
period.
the end of,
Short period of time.
it would be.
So in all fairness, what you're thinking we should do is just not, put a not recommended.
You could as a,
Cause you got a big sigh.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to pull the rug out from underneath the program, but, you know, we sent a real strong, clear message to them that, you know, you need to get your house in order. You need to be more clear, more detailed on your budget. They came back with another budget, even that wasn't that great. You know, we ask a lot more of other programs in this town than what we saw there. I still think the purpose of the program is a good purpose, but the question is, are we gonna continue to recommend funding it at any level?
And not knowing where that money's gonna go.
Not knowing how it's gonna be used. It's not a very transparent process.
Yep.
Right. I think ideally, what I think of the Main Street program is how effective are they with Main Street businesses? I would love to see Main Street businesses come in support of their article next year because of the work that they hopefully do this year.
You won't get the support this year, I know that for a fact.
Right, right.
So is your okay, let's take a motion on the reconsider, that's what we need to do first. We have a motion on the floor to reconsider by Chet, seconded by Mark. Let's do a roll call on that. Mark?
Yes, sir.
Me, yes. Chet? Collis?
Yes.
Chet? And Jim?
Yes.
Okay. So that's on, now how do we want to handle it? We just want to go with a, not recommended, or do you want to pull the article?
We'll just,
Go ahead, Mark. What do you want to do?
I'll make the motion that we not recommend.
Okay, so the article will be on the ballot.
Yeah.
With the selectmen's recommendation not to.
Not to recommend.
And I'll second it, because I think that's the proper way to go.
Yeah.
I agree.
So at least it'll go on to the
I agree.
ballot, and we can let the townspeople decide.
Yep, let them make the decision as,
Yeah.
yeah.
I agree.
And we've already voiced the reasons why we're not gonna recommend it.
Yep.
So Mark made the motion, you seconded it, Collis?
Yeah.
Okay, Mark made a motion to, goes on the ballot, not recommended by the select board. We'll start with, and Collis seconded.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
And Chet?
Yes.
Okay, so we go on from there. Is there anything else, Derek?
No.
Is there anybody here in the audience that, for public comment? Seeing none, take a motion.
Making a motion to go into non-public session, RSA 91A:3/2A compensation. Anything else, or is that it?
That is it.
Compensation only.
Seconded by Chet. That's a roll call?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Chet?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Okay, that'll conclude our public portion of tonight's meeting. Have a good evening, and please bring your animals in so they don't freeze out there tonight.